All right, what's happening, my athletes? That's right, Miss Muscarella coming at you. And in this video, we are going to take a look at an example using the law of cosines given three sides. So grab your calculator, a pen, and something to write with, and let's go. All right, so here we are. We've got this information. Solve the triangle given the following side lengths. A equals 18.7, B is 22.3, and C is 29.1. So what, pray tell, should we do first? Well, of course, we are going to draw a picture. Because anytime you can put a picture to some words, it's always going to help make some things go a little more smoothly. Now, my habit is always to put the A there, the B there, and the C there. Then I'm going to label the sides. So A is across from angle A. So 18.7 goes there. B is 22.3, so that'll go in that slot. And lastly, we have 29.1 for side C. Now, when I analyze this, I'm going to do three things. First thing is take a look and find which side is longest. And which, pray tell, is that? Yes, that is going to be side C over here, 29.1, which means I'm going to find angle C first. In doing so, here is going to be the calculation. I'm going to show you the shortest way to get there. And since we're trying to find an angle, we'll always use arcsine or cosine, depending on the situation. In this case, because we have three sides, we're using law of cosines. So the case on this one, because sometimes your teachers will want you to write that down. So the case is going to be side, 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 which is going to imply law of cosines, which generally means you'll abbreviate that LOC. So now there's three steps when you use law of cosines, right? Once you realize that, you're going to use that law of cosines to find the biggest angle, which in this case is 29.1 as the side. So angle C is going to be what we'll get after. So the law of cosines, when you find an angle, this is how you're going to do it. We're trying to find angle C. So we're going to do the measure of angle C equals, and then arc cosine. Now, the stuff we're going to write the arc cosine for is going to be the following. So this is where I want you to really kind of lock in here, yeah? So the part that we are finding, there's always going to be a 2 on the bottom. The biggest side, the one we're given, side C, we're going to subtract 29.1 squared. Now, the other two sides are your other variables. So it doesn't matter which order you put them into. You're going to put 22.3, square that, plus the other one, 18.7. And square that. That's going to go in the numerator. And then each of those, without being squared, is going to go into the denominator. So then you're going to have 22.3 times 18.7. Now, let's BOTC. As my buddy Corpy says, time to bust out the calc. So we're going to take out our graphing calculator. And remember, you always need to be in what mode? Yeah, that's right, degree mode. So if you forget how to go to degree mode, you're going to go to second and then, or not second, sorry, we're thinking ahead here. You're just going to go to the mode, and in the mode there, you're going to want to make sure in your degree. Then take your time as you input the information, because that is very often where people will mess up. So you type in arc cosine, all the information, and you get about 89.9883 blah, blah, blah. That's the first thing. So that is the value of angle C. So we write down the value for angle C, and you want to use the approximate symbol as you do that. And depending on your teacher, your textbook, the other thing, sometimes they'll have you round to the nearest degree, other times the nearest tenth or whatever. If you're looking at AP calculus level stuff, always go to 4 decimals. They require 3, but if you write 4, you'll be safe. So let's go on and find the next angle, shall we? Now, which angle do we find? I'm so glad you asked. Analyze the other two sides and see which one is bigger. So, all right, let's go 22.3 or 18.7. Which one's bigger? Yeah, that's right. 22.3 is bigger, which means we going after angle B next. Now, in order to do this, we're not going to use law of cosines. Now, we're going to switch and use law of sines. So that's the second part of it, right? You're going to use law of cosines for the biggest angle and then law of sines to find the next biggest angle. So with that said, let's get after this. So we're finding angle B. So we're going to have sine of B is going to be on top. And then on the bottom is going to be our 22.3. And that's going to be equal to the sine of angle C. And I'm just going to write 89.9883 over. And then that side was 29.1. So that'll be your starting ratio. So that communicates like, yep, I'm using law of sines. I know what I'm doing. Now, if you're finding angle B, all right, cross multiply. But since the B is what we're trying to find, and sine of B is what's in the numerator, you're just going to multiply 22.3 by sine of 89.9883. Now, when we use that value in our calculator, we're not going to actually use that approximation. We'll use the actual value the calculator has. So more on that in a little bit. Then we get 29.1. Now to find the angle, because remember, we're trying to find an angle, which means, in this case, we will use arc cosine. Or I'm sorry, I even said it wrong. We're using arc sine. So the measure of angle B is going to be arc sine of all of that same blob again. Once we have that written down on our paper, we're going to write down one more thing. We're going to write down, the measure of angle B is going to be about, and then we're going to key all this into the calculator. Now, here's where, when we bust out the calc, right, we got to be real careful, make sure we type things in correctly. So we're going to do second sine, right, because that's your arc sine. Now, to get the fraction, in case you don't know how to do that, you're going to do alpha y equals, and that sets it up to be a fraction. And as you type things in, so remember, when I look at my formula, it's 22.3 sine of that blob. So I'm going to type in 22.3 and then sine. And instead of just typing in 89.983, I'm going to arrow up on the calculator and snag that value. And you can see it highlighted right here, 89. So that's going to give you the whole thing. And then just hit enter. That'll put that whole piece approximated, because the calculator only goes so many spaces. And then I'll go to the bottom, and then I'll type in the rest of it, which was just 29.1. So 29.1, and then, oops, yeah, got to make sure you type it in right, because that's a other thing too. There's so much button pushing going on. It's really, really easy to make a mistake. So take your time as you do that. And then when we end up with that value, we get about 50.0248. So once I have that value, 50.0428. Now you should remember, the math facts, triangle sum theorem, all three angles on the interior of a triangle have to have a sum of 180. So we're going to go ahead and then use that triangle sum theorem to find a measure of angle A. And again, just be real careful when you do that, because you're going to do 180 minus, and then you can just go right up and snag that 50 point whatever, or you can go up to the 89.9 blah, blah, blah. So you're going to subtract those two values, and then minus, and then the other part, and that will give you your final answer for angle A, which is the last one, 39.9868. So we'll go ahead and we'll write that guy in. So that's about 39 point, what did we have for that? 9868. All right, awesome. So 39.9868. So that's going to be the value of angle A about. All right, now, if this were a quiz, let's go through and allocate some points on here. So you get 1 point for the drawing, because we like to have the visual piece, stating the case, making sure that you put down side, 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 that it's law of cosines. Then you want to show your setup here to find angle C and have that approximate value. Then you're going to take a look at the law of sines. So, either one of these two lines will get you there, because if you have the second line, you go right to that, that's fine, because it's like, yes, you're applying the law of sines. We see that, we know that. And then you have your exact answer right here for the measure of angle B. And then you have your approximate answer, and then finding the value for angle A. And so that's how the points would be distributed for this one if you were in my class. All right, thanks so much for watching. You guys make it a great day. And as always, get out there and be awesome, because you are. Catch up with you later. Peace out, Cub Scout.